Hi, Brandy here. That's what my name says right there. Boop, boop, boop. I just want to let y'all know I already got my housekeeping done. Aren't y'all proud of me? I'm on it today. I'm on it today. Okay, just put some in the back of my shoulders. What the heck just happened there? Okay, I can still shrug. I did it. Okay. Oh, hope everyone out there is feeling razzle dazzly and just in it to win it, because I am. And I'm ready for today's show to begin. It is Wednesday. It is 9 p.m. It is question time. Are you ready? That's my Britney Spears. Are you ready? I don't think this show, it might go on. Usually when I say I don't think it's gonna go long, it usually goes much longer than I think it is. So let's just say it's gonna be a show today. And it might be short, it might be long, but it's gonna be a show. hmm Today we are talking about it's down there right at the bottom. I tell y'all. Are Christians protected like the LGBT community? Um, and this is not about if you agree with Christianity or if you agree with homosexuality or if you agree with friggin' Ron DeSantis or if you agree with whoever the freak is. That's not what it's about. The gist of it is, do you believe that Christians are as protected as the LGBT community? In the comments, hit yes, type yes, or hit yes, type yes, or type no. If you believe that Christians have just as much freedom as the LGBT community, or type yes. And if you feel like the Christian community has a lot more censorship, then type. I don't know why I keep wanting to say hit, then type no. Okay, that's what today's show is. And let's bring in one of our regulars because I love her. Because she's cute. Look at her, she's cute. Hi, Ash.
Hello.
How are you?
Uh, I'm well.
That's good. I'm a little tired.
Me too.
But and I was gonna reschedule. I was like, consistency is important. Give the people what they want. So again, I don't know if you heard that, but this isn't about if you believe in homosexuality. This isn't about if you believe in Christianity. It's not about that. It's about if you feel that the Christian community has as much protection in the way of um, vocalizing as the LGBT community. And we can just go right in there, right in there. Yay or nay?
I say yes.
You say yes?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you say yes?
Um.
Sorry.
Can't wait. Maybe can you define protection? I'm trying to get my light going.
Verbally. So, like, say a Christian says, I don't believe, um, oh no, say a Christian says homosexuality is nasty, and homosexual says, um, being straight is nasty. Do you think they get the exact same reprimand or the exact same, be met with the same type of behavior?
I would say. I mean, this day and age, you don't. People are. It's cancel culture. If you say anything that's against the homosexual or fluid lifestyle community. So, I mean, I don't think that's just the Christians. I think that's anybody
That's what.
that probably would be met with more resistance for saying what they believe.
And why is that? Why do you think that is?
I have, because I mean, the homosexual community is organized. I mean, they've made some. I mean, they put themselves in good positions. I think because more people are coming out, so you have more family members, and it's hard to speak against your family member because you love them. So it's just it's a lot to it. I mean, yeah.
I don't feel like Christians are as protected as much as the LGBT community. And I guess I can use an example from where I'm coming from. Like if you speak out against the LGBT community at your job, you could get fired. But if somebody speaks out about Christianity, then that's just them saying how they feel. Or if you say you don't date trans people, you get hit with transphobia. But if a Christian person's, I mean, excuse me, uh, person, a member of the LGBT community says that they don't date a female, she doesn't date men, it's like, oh, that's your preference. And I feel like Christians are more attacked if they say in the way of their belief that they get more attacked if they say something in the way of their belief. And I agree. I agree completely. I think the Christians need to take a cue from the LGBT community, especially about organizing and unifying and getting stuff done. And I also think they can take a little hit, including the Black community, from the Hispanic community right now, with the whole immigrants not allowed in, or um, undocumented people not allowed in Florida or Kansas now.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm at my daughter's practice. So I'm not gonna be able to stay on long, but
Oh,
um
it's okay. I didn't. I'm not going to be able to actually stay on long either. I have to go somewhere. Um,
okay.
but so that's why I'm like, that's the thing I said earlier. I'm like, it's going to be a short show. But every time I say it's going to be a
Okay.
short show, it'll be long as heck. But this one ain't going to be unless somebody going to take over hosting. So, so how do I phrase it? Danielle said yes, because Christianity is more widely accepted. And I'm like, even though Christianity is, I don't think it's more widely accepted. I think it's just more well known. So people are comfortable with what they know. But I don't think because of it being widely, well, I don't want to say widely accepted, that doesn't make it like Christians can't say whatever they want to say. And you definitely can't say this is something that you can't say, well, according to my belief, I believe, because then you get hit with well, if you take your belief out of it, then how do you feel? What do you think about that comment or that suggestion?
I've never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah, I've never no one has ever said that to me.
This heifer right here.
I don't know why my phone is acting. Oh,
Did
hey.
you really put Dr. Jackson?
Oh, that's been there since last week.
Right, girl. So protection as in not being as attacked for saying what you want, saying how you feel.
In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, if someone needs protection, are they really, how to phrase this better? Um, because by the fact that they need protection, are they really widely protected?
I don't think anyone's widely protected. I think the
But I
level of,
think that Christians are at less risk from being harmed than, because, for example, in a lot of the LGBTQ community, of course, used to come into the, especially like transgendered, that would go out, they would actually come in and get assaulted, physically assaulted, just because of the fact that they were presenting in their other selves. So, and then I don't consider them protected because even certain physicians that I'd be working with, they did not want to identify them as their pronoun and what have you, because they didn't believe in that. So is that real protection?
so in the way of protection, I mean censorship. Like, I don't think a Christian is going to get beat up for being a Christian more than a person in the LGBT community is going to get beat up for being whatever they believe that themselves to be. Like, I mean, in the way of censorship, the LGBT community can speak out, can voice more than the Christian community is what I mean. Does that make sense? Did I say that like well?
Okay. I don't know. I guess because when people say things in the workplace that have to do to religion, most people don't really cut them off for the most part. But then you'll have like people walking out of the room sometimes when people, you know, of the homosexual community will come in. For example, I had a situation where I was at work and I knew the young lady in the room was a lesbian. However, my coworker was not aware of that fact. And then she made some very strong, um, strong statements about basically how the gay community is trying to push their agenda and blah blah blah. But she didn't know the other lady in the room was a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Now, censorship, protection, I don't know.
I mean, did the lady walk out of the room when she found out that?
She didn't walk out of the room, but that's because a lot of people a lot of people in my department didn't know she was gay either.
But I think
Only
that
people
goes
in
to
her.
what we're. I think that
Go
goes
ahead.
to back to censorship. You're saying that she made those comments because she did not know. So had she
Correct.
known, it's assumed that she would not have said it. So therefore, she would have been censoring
Mm-mm.
herself.
She's very vocal. She was a very vocal person about her dislike for the gay community. So
Wow.
Did she change her behavior when she found out that the girl was gay or
nope,
lesbian?
nope.
So who left the room?
Oh, nobody left the room. It was a lunchroom, so nobody left the room. But I'm saying that I could see that the person was visibly getting irritated, and of course, I changed the conversation.
Which one was getting
So you
irritated?
provided the censorship then.
Maybe.
Who was getting irritated or
Um,
uncomfortable?
my friend who's a lesbian.
Okay.
I think that that goes to the topic at hand. Censorship is provided, and we can't speculate. But I have been in conversations because I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I have been in conversations with people who don't believe, and they're very open to expressing that, and that's fine. But I have also been in conversations with those same people, and it's like don't speak against this. Like it does provide a level of censorship, even though they're not practicing gay, they're not homosexual or any, they don't fall in the category of the LGBTQ, uh in any shape or form. So I think that there is a level of awareness that everyone has, and the desire to censor, because it's kind of in us now to do that. um but I think that when it comes to personal beliefs as far as spiritual, no one censors that. It's like, oh, okay, I don't have to agree with what you agree with, and we're all okay with that. We're all under that understanding. So, but I have to get off, unfortunately. So hopefully I'll be able to pop back on if y'all are still on.
And also to piggyback off of what she was saying, I've been in conversations, and everybody knows I love the Lord. Hallelujah. But I've been in conversations and with a non-believer, and I'll say that I believe this, and they'll be like, you can't say that because that's the da, 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 da." But I'm like, but you can say that you don't believe, but I can't say that I believe. I have to explain why I believe, but you don't have to explain why you don't believe. Or I've seen conversations where, or you see it on TV all the time, like all the time. Someone will say something like again, I don't date. I'm not gonna date women. That's not my thing. I'm homophobic if I say that. Like but it can be it could be someone on the LGBT community that doesn't believe in Christianity, and I can't call them Christianophobic. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't attack them on that front, but you can call me a homophobe because my preference is not allowed, but your preference is. And I think that's what I mean in the way of censorship. And plus, if you say God is not real, or if you say something to that effect at a job, you can't you won't get fired for it. But if you say you don't believe in homosexuality and you're not going to do something, whatever, you can get fired. So I feel that the LGBT community is more protected than the Christian community. But I also feel that that is because they have put in the work to get there. And we need to, and Christians also need to put in the work to get there. Did you have something to say, the realist? This name, y'all with these names.
I mean, I think you know, the you mentioned that, you know, as far as putting in work, I think the difference is like separating church and state, right? That's one of the, you know, amendments of constitutional, you know, something in the Constitution about that. So it's hard to, you know, Christians in and of themselves to have certain rights because of that, right? It's like a state legislation and stuff, something like that. But you know, they don't compare. They don't look at Christian rights as human rights, right? Because it's a religious organization, whereas the LGBTQ, even though they aren't a like real organization per se, right? These are just people with no religious background. I mean, not saying no religious background. I'm just saying when they come
Right,
together,
right. I
it's
know,
not
yeah.
uniting on a religious front. So, and it's all about their rights as humans. So it's hard to obtain those same rights that they have in terms of protection. So I think it's going to be a real uphill battle. And I think the negative part about that, you know, in terms of where Christians are concerned, is the fact that Christianity has been used in so much negativity, right? When you look at it from that angle, it kind of we they did themselves a disservice because of that, because of the negative stigma that it has with it, right? Because on the run front, we was like, hey, as Christians, we could, you know, we want these rights. But on the flip front, it's like, well, hey, people use the Bible to enslave, you know, to enslave people. So so you know, Christians always have this. Certain Christianity has this negative stigma behind it as well. So you got to fight, you know, past those stigmas to get to the truth, and then also the fact of I think how a lot of Christians respond to the LGBTQ community doesn't do the gospel in itself, you know, a service. So, you know, they are at odds with one another, and I think, you know, the main outrage on that is the fact that the LGBTQ community, a lot of them believe Christians hate them, and that's not necessarily the case. So you got to fight against that battle as well, right? So
Agreed.
it's tough.
But you and
It's tough.
I heard you, but something stuck out
And
of my
then,
mind. You were talking about how Christians don't have the it's constitutional, but there is an amendment or a bill of right. I don't know. Don't say nothing to me. I know math that says freedom of religion. So that
yeah,
means in your
that means
religion, you should be free to say or feel how you feel
no, no, no,
within
no,
your
no.
religion.
Free. No, that means you have freedom to practice your religion, not freedom to do or say anything within your
Well,
religion.
freedom
And
of
you can
speech
say,
ties into that.
and you do have the freedom of speech to say anything that you want to, right? But then you got to look at the fact that, you know, for example, if we looking at freedom of speech, right? Not, you know, they not now they pass a law that if you say nigger, you know what I'm saying, that's like a hate word, right? So it's like when we look at the freedom of speeches, and then when believers start speaking against certain organizations, then they look at that as hate speech. You see what I'm saying? So it's like those thin line between having the freedom of speech to say what you want to, but then relegating that to a specific area that makes it comfortable and safe for everybody, and that's where it gets tricky at, in my opinion.
Well, I'm gonna say that saying the N word isn't a hate crime. It's saying the N word and then assaulting somebody that makes it a hate crime. Just like calling somebody the F word in the in the LGBT community, you can say it, but if you say it while you're assaulting somebody, that makes it a hate crime. And I
Okay.
do agree. We do have, and I think it's Christian nationalist that's really messing up the Christian name, because they're for church and, well, I don't even think they're for church, but they're for church and state. And like
Correct.
you said, you have to. I'm sorry.
No, I said correct. They don't want
And
any separation between church and state.
right. And if
But
we're
I
based,
wouldn't even. Oh,
go ahead.
my bad. I wouldn't even say it's Christian nationalists, right? Not even just them. I think Christians as a whole,
Hmm.
right? And the reason, and I'm saying that because, man, everybody that claimed first, let me say this: everybody that claimed Christianity isn't necessarily a Christian, right?
Right. Agreed.
Right? Like,
Like
being
Trump.
a true Christian, what I'm saying, like lives according to the gospel of Jesus Christ. They put their full faith in the Christ, right? And they're saying that, the word Christian in itself, what I'm saying, points back to who you're actually following, right? So,
Hmm.
my main thing is a lot of people who claim Christianity aren't really, I wouldn't consider them Christians because they're not living what the lifestyle that Christians are actually supposed to live. But then the flip side to that is when we get a lot of believers, people who are true Christians, right, who placed their faith in Christ but haven't been discipled enough to understand what the walking out, what Scripture tells us to, having that full understanding. A lot of people lack that, so in them they give Christianity a bad name on top of the people who do know the word, right? Because our
Right.
actions don't always line up with what we believe, right? And that's normal, right? And I think because people expect Christians to be perfect, when they see them doing something that's not Christian, like they say, "Oh, they're false Christians," instead of understanding that even as a believer, even as a Christian, it doesn't mean that you're sinless, right? It doesn't mean you're never going to sin again,
Hmm.
right? You are going to fall short. Often we always fall short, which reminds us that we need a savior, right, to kind of save us from our deprived minds and actions and stuff like that go against the will of God. So I think when you combine all those things plus church history, again, it gets that bad. People give it a bad stigma because they only focus on the negative. But there are so many great things that Christians have done throughout history and time and to contribute to the world that people don't focus on that, right? Because that's not news that's gonna sell, right? That's not controversy that's gonna get a lot of headlines, right? And as the human nature looks to these negative things to entertain our minds, right? So, because without
But
opposition, it's almost like, what are you fighting for, right? So,
right. But the
but
question.
yeah,
So
I
the
think
question
that's.
would. So the question would be: Do you feel like the LGBT community has more leeway to say what they want compared to the Christian community?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because and the reason why that is because a lot of Christian organizations are 501c3, right? So and they're nonprofit organizations. So
Hmm.
what happens is when you have a lot of nonprofit organizations who are getting government funding, tax breaks and stuff like that, they begin to regulate what you can and cannot say. Otherwise, you won't be able to get those tax breaks. So because of those things, a lot of times, Christians are being censored to what they can and cannot say from the pulpit, who they
See,
can
so
serve and who they cannot serve. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but you're
So
thinking on a whole. I'm not thinking on the organization. I'm thinking on the individual. Can an individual LGBTQ person have more leeway to say whatever they want as opposed to a Christian? So say Saucy Santana versus
giving,
you. Who has the
I'm trying
most
to
who has
understand
the
because
most censorship? I'm sorry?
I'm trying to because if we're looking at it individually, I think we all have the same amount of censorship, right? I think it's equal. I don't think it's um, one has more leeway than the other. It's not until you get into the organizational part, right, that
Mm-mm.
where the leeway is, kind of leans one way or the other, right? Because you can see a lot of Christians post a lot of different stuff the way they want to, the same way the LGBTQ can, right? It's no different, right? So I think when you look at, if you're saying from the individual aspect, I think it's equal.
And do you say that it's who has more censorship? You said who did you say has more censorship or more censored?
The church as a whole. So when we look at
Not you.
Christians as a
I'm
whole,
talking to Danielle.
what you say?
I'm asking Dr. Jackson
Oh,
if you're nasty. I'm sorry. Go.
Who has more censorship? I don't think I answered the question. As a matter of fact, I don't think I did. Um, who has more censorship? I think it depends on where you are.
We're not going to live in the world of it depends. Everything depends.
Yeah, because the thing is, in certain
Depending on where
states,
you
like,
are.
okay,
Depending on where you are.
how many states is it that gay marriage is legal?
I don't know. I'm not homosexual, so I don't know. I don't have those numbers. I guess I can Google it. Let me Google. Google.
I think in all 50 states it's legal, if I'm not mistaken. I know. I don't know if Texas banned it, but I know in a lot
Right.
of, I think in all 50 states they made it a federal law. So I think it's equal in all
Right.
all 50 states.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Um, okay. That might change my answer then. Because I know a few years ago it was only legal in just a few states.
Right. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
legal
think
in all states.
when they passed that federal law, that's when everybody went out and all those states
I know
they
it's
automatically
recognized. I
banned
know
it.
if I knew previously if you were married somewhere else, they have to recognize your marriage wherever. But
As of June 26, 2015, the Supreme Court struck down an all states ban on same sex marriage, legalizing it in all 50 states.
okay. Well, bring me to the times, baby.
Welcome. Welcome to 2023. I feel
Um,
like, I'm sorry, go ahead, because I thought you were
no,
still.
go ahead. No, please go ahead.
I think I've answered this, and I feel like on an individual level, not I do feel the church is much more. The church is going to be censored, yes, because you can lose your nonprofit. I
Funding.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was also this thing where they said if you don't marry gay couples or whatever the terminology will be, if you don't, then you'll lose your nonprofit. But I feel like Christians are way more censored because if you say something against, you're attacked with names. So, like I said before, you're homophobic, you're transphobic, you're bashing, you're doing this, that, and the third. But if a gay person is like, "Oh, I don't like whatever," it's like, okay, well, okay, thanks for sharing, type of situation. And it makes,
Oh,
and I feel like,
oh,
and
I
the
think
people that I know who are homosexual, I feel like and I've spoken to them, like they know they can say whatever they want and ain't nothing gonna happen. But me, I'm sitting over here like I can say do 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 ooh, delete 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 do 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 okay do 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 like out of my mouth. So I because I don't want to offend, like that's not what God told me to do. And I'm one of those, like you said, realist. I'm like you. I'm a Christian, and my Christian belief tells me to respect everybody. I ain't gonna judge you because I don't know if I'm going to heaven or hell either. So I can't put you in one. And it tells me to love my neighbors. So I'm gonna love you. But I do have to consider what I'm going to say before I say it. And that's on my and I think we had we shared text messages, guy. You have to, that's on your jobs, that's on future jobs, that's on just like a lot of stuff. You have to consider what you say when you say it and how you say it. And like I said, all my people that are a part of the LGBTQ community, oh, they say what they want. I don't even think they censor themselves, much
I,
less
you
anybody
know,
else.
going back to something, I'm gonna have to agree with you, because even now with the hospital training, with the sensitivity training,
Hmm.
it's even put in there that if you are caught saying anything like that, it can also be considered sexual harassment.
Saying something like what?
Say something negative about, of course, the homosexual LGBTQ
Oh,
community. It can be considered sexual harassment.
I'm trying to
But you
think.
can
Did I?
say not. Do they allow you to say anything you want to about heterosexual people?
Anything having, yeah, well,
You
no,
can't rub
you
what?
can't. Anything having to do with disparaging anything and of, you know, any basically the workplace has deemed it that anything that somebody deems sexual harassment is sexual harassment,
Right. So that's
Right.
heterosexual
whether it's heterosexual
or
or homosexual.
But
right, right,
let me,
right.
but to let me actually, like, I feel like I should do some clarification.
But
So you cannot say, ew, I don't know how he's kissing that boy. That's sexual harassment. But if
Yes.
I, as a LGBTQ community person, I say, yeah, no, I couldn't kiss a man. Mm-mm. It will not be taken so harshly as the person that said, I don't see how you can kiss another dude.
yeah, but I don't think that's censorship though,
How's that not? Since censorship is controlling
because
what you say.
because
Go ahead.
because because I think we talking about, you know, um if a heterosexual says something like, "Oh, I don't see how he can be kissing a man," right? And you
Mm-hmm.
might be looked at a particular way, but that don't mean you can't say it,
Well, you can't because you can lose your job. That's what we're
right?
saying.
Right, but
That's
what I'm saying
censorship.
is, but it,
That's censorship. You're being censored
right,
from saying that.
but what I'm saying is, it's the same thing if somebody from the LGBTQ says, "Oh, I don't see how she can be kissing a man." That would be the offense is the same in the workplace.
But it's not.
Correct.
But it's
It's
not.
in the workweplace. It is,
Yeah, no,
depending
it
on
I'm
is.
who's
sorry. Yes,
hearing it.
in
Yeah.
a workplace, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the individual organization that's making those rules for themselves.
Correct.
That
Right,
may not
but
be the
that's what I'm
case in
saying.
every other organization. But I'm
So the
saying if
censorship,
As a
so the
generalization, you're talking about, Brandy.
I'm saying, yeah, I'm like, you can't go to the organization because the organization, of course, is going to protect the organization. That's period, point blank. But if you
Okay.
take it out of the job place, take it out of the church, and I'm walking down the street, or I'm making a message on Facebook, or I'm making a message on IG or TikTok, then if you say something, you can look at the comments and see if a Christian
right,
says,
right. That's what I'm saying. We're not talking about censorship. We just talking about people responding to how they feel about whatever it is you posting, right? And we can go through like just different things on, like, which is like the Will and Jada situation. Everybody had two different opinions on that, and everybody is able to, uh, put up that information, and we can't necessarily do anything about how other people feel about the views that you may particularly have. Now, I will say this though: I have seen what they call this whole cancel culture, right? Cancel
mm-hmm,
people because of, people saying certain things, right? But at the same time, I think, to be fair, right, I ain't really never seen homosexuals say, "Oh, I don't see how she kissing I don't see how she kissing a man. I don't see how he could kiss that." Like they don't. I ain't been around,
Right.
homosexuals that
Because
say
I
stuff
have.
like that. Right? I haven't. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I'm not saying that it's not that it never happens, but I'm just saying like
Right.
that's not the
It's more unlikely.
right. But it is more
It's not
likely
though.
that.
But you also have to
Uh,
consider the industry that I'm in. So
Yeah,
I'm in the theater
you're
industry.
in the arts.
Right. So I'm gonna be around it. And they say very often, ill men or like they be like, I could never. That's just, and I'm like, okay. So, and I think it is censorship when you have to, when you have to consider what you're going to say before you say it. The Will and Jada example is nobody was like, oh shoot, if I say this, Jada is going to attack me, or if I say this, Will is going to attack me. That's not what, there was no sense. That was just, that was open. Hey cutie, that was just open and ready. You can say what you want to say. But if you have to actually consider what you're going to say before you say it, that's censorship, because you're concerned about what the outcome, what the blowback is going to be. That's
but
censorship.
that's in almost everything that we do. I think we should always consider what we say before we
But
say
we're
it,
not
right?
talking
I
about
think that's
everything. We're talking about Christians versus
no,
LGBT community.
no,
I see where you're coming from, though.
You talking Leroy? I mean, the realist.
it, then you then what I'm saying is we're censored every day in our lives, right? Because you do got to consider what you say before you put it out, right? And everything, I think, in everything that we do, or how we communicate certain things, right? So is that real? Is it censorship to think about what you say before you say it?
Okay, so I'll put it
I
in the
mean,
respect
everything.
of who has more censorship. Since everything has censorship, who is more censored out of?
No, I'm asking. No, what I'm asking is, because I'm not. What I'm saying is, I'm not certain that because you have to think about something before you say it, that equates to censorship.
But well, my thing. I'm gonna talk, and I'm gonna say that
I'm
I
gonna.
see even the comedians are complaining about the fact that everything they say has to be PC, and the fact that they can't even be comedians anymore. So I have to agree with Brandy on that. The fact that, yeah,
And especially if they say they can say something against white people,
Hold
against
they
gay
could say something
people,
about
hold on,
Christians
hold on,
and they won't
hold
have
on.
anything
and
said about them.
nothing. But if you
This
say something about the LGBT community, then you've lost your hosting gig for
You're
the
canceled.
Oscars.
You're
No, that's not
canceled.
true.
And
Dave Chappelle. I've seen a lot of comedians say a lot of raunchy stuff about LGBTQ, and ain't nothing really necessarily happened to him. But before I even get to that point, to what you were saying about the comedians saying that they have to be politically correct. I don't think them being politically correct is the part that's censorship, right? I think it's not being able to
There's,
um
well, I feel like there's
the
still
penalty
limited
that
stuff that
comes.
they can say. There's still
Okay.
limited stuff that they can say because even the comedians, even when Dave Chappelle was talking about, for example, the transgendered person that he was talking about, there was certain things that he said that did not offend that person, especially since that person was a friend of his.
he also added in there that we're friends. He also added in there
He had to
that
give that
y'all so
caveat.
right, y'all
Oh,
so worried about what I'm
y'all
saying, but
talking?
y'all
You
have to
talking? No, no,
understand
no,
da da
no,
da 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 da
no, no,
da.
no,
But if you say
no,
something
no, no,
about Christianity, then it's like, and
no,
you
no,
get to
no,
go.
no. Before he even told that story, he was already saying jokes about LGBTQ.
And right,
Well,
and the
that's
reason he
what, but
told the
that's also
story,
why that was years ago, though. That was years ago. Like, if you're talking about like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, yes, a lot of people used to joke about the LGBTQ community. But nowadays, you can't.
and also Kevin Hart lost his hosting for years ago for saying something years ago. But the reason Dave Chappelle came out with that more recent I don't know if it's a joke with Dave Chappelle or that's
Yeah, it was this whole
it's
it was a
because
whole it was a whole comedy show that was based around that particular
he was
topic
getting attacked because of
because he was
what
getting
he said.
backlash.
That's why he came back and said it. He didn't say it just to be like, "Hey, let's tell another joke about it." He's trying to explain why that was and how that situation is. So the back, like she said, the backlash from that is why he came out and said that. So he had to control. He had to. It was basically
He
what you
controlled the
call it?
narrative basically.
Right. Or when you get in trouble, what is that? Something control, whatever. And if you have to, so if you have to, let me
If
ask
you
you.
have to give a precursor, if you have to give a precursor to why and you have to explain why, then yeah, because the people who make a lot of jokes about the LGBTQ community, they're not going to be big money, so to speak. And yeah, so I can say that the censorship has significantly increased for the LGBTQIA community plus LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah, I think you got them. I don't know if we have to look up in the sky to find it. It's like, why everybody think up there? Why does everybody think upward? Like, even dumb people.
The answers are up there. The answers are up there.
Hello, because that's where he is. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I think, and it's no like disrespect or no like I can't believe why do they get to be less censored than we
Yeah,
do.
it's not.
My thing is Christians, and I say this all the time, black people, y'all need to learn something from the LGBT people. They got it. They
But
figured something out.
my question to that is, do Christians need as much protection?
Yeah, I think so because
Are they being assaulted at the rate that the LGBTQIA plus community are being assaulted?
No.
no, nah. I mean, no.
So that's why the censorship is necessary, and I feel like that's why the protection is necessary because of the fact that they're being assaulted, being disrespected publicly all the time, because of the fact that the rate of them being harassed, being abused, being physically assaulted is so high. However, now if you were to change the argument to say, okay, is it that they get more censorship in comparison to Black people, then this would be a different argument.
Yeah, that'd be a whole total different.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, if you compare black people to anybody, black people losing. Compare them to a goddamn turtle.
Brandy just got canceled.
Basically, if you compare black people to a goddamn, if you compare black people to this T little thingy, black people losing. You're losing. You have less censorship than, I mean, you had less censorship than.
But I think because Christianity has so much power, like even worldwide, I don't think we can put them in the same category as the LGBTQIA plus community
I'm not
because of
trying
the
to put
fact that the church has so much power, like worldwide.
I'm not putting them in the same category. I'm using them as an example of censorship only. Like I
Okay.
know those groups will never be. No group will really ever be in the same category. I mean, if you do religions, if you do sexual orientation, like that kind of stuff, and if we do sexual orientation, I believe heterosexuals are more censored than the LGBT community.
Yes, that I can agree with.
Oh, say that again, humbug. You don't. Ah. Uh huh. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you for sharing. The realist, you have something? I don't know if he's there. But I mean, and if we segue into the black community versus, or shoot, you could do black community versus white community. Black people can't say what they want to.
Mm-mm.
even white people that's using the N word, that's flicking people off while they're driving down the highway and swerve their Jeep after they're going to hit somebody and then end up hitting a wall. I mean, his insurance still gonna pay for his car.
Mhm.
He gonna possibly go to jail. He might get a fine, but if black person say something to the police like, "Hey, why you put me over, man?" Judge and jury type of situation. So I'm going 10 toes down and say that the LGBT community and con- I'm not knocking you for it. I'm actually trying to learn something from you. They do have less censorship than shoot. I feel like they may have less censorship than Jewish people. Like even Jewish people got to watch what they say, and they running this town.
I wouldn't go that
Do
far.
they? Do they? You- Because Israel is one of
I
the
won't go that
let
far.
me tell you, Israel is one of the most powerful.
Oh no, I agree.
So I don't say that they have any censorship, if any.
I agree.
So
The Jewish people,
I I
y'all.
wouldn't even.
I'm surprised y'all haven't taken over the monarch yet. Okay, I'm really surprised.
They have zero. So I would not. I wouldn't even put Jewish in this conversation. Nope.
So, do you think that being anti-Semitic is, and my answer, and I know my answer. I'm just asking this question.
Being
I mean,
anti-Semitic is worse than being homophobic.
right, right.
I don't know. People still buying Yeezys. Oh, okay. I don't own it. I don't have that kind of money, so
You know what? I realize people that don't have money are the only ones buying them things. Anyway, I guess I should have a few pair. But yeah, right. So, man, but okay. That
being anti-Semitic, hmm, you get everything thrown at you. Okay,
yeah, you lose. Yeah.
you might
Yeah,
lose your life.
yeah. And who was the basketball player? I don't think. I mean, he posted something that was on Amazon, and he almost lose his job. Like he almost lost his. You might know more about this than me. Say again.
Oh,
Right?
Kyrie
Did he
Irving.
lose? He didn't lose his contract, but he was about to, and he got fined or something.
He lucky that's all he lost.
I can't. We can't hear you. You want to say that again? I couldn't. We couldn't hear you.
Oh,
I
I
said
said
they
he
was trying
lucky.
to.
Oh, okay.
I said they was trying to cancel him for real.
Oh, right.
Oh,
He's
they
lucky
was
that's all he
outside.
got. Honestly,
They was outside of games, telling them they ain't play about. They wasn't playing about that.
Right. And all he did was post. What did he post? A link to a video. He didn't even say anything.
he lucky that's all he got.
And they was
Don't let
saying
Israel
that
come after you.
they was saying now here's the deep part that really threw me off. Now they wanted to cancel him, but they didn't want to cancel Jeff Bezos,
Oh,
right? I mean, cause it's on Amazon.
right.
So if you mad about him wouldn't you be that much more outraged of the founder who put it out there?
Because he's selling it.
And it's these implicit biases, right? But the main thing that they was what people not recognizing, they wasn't mad. They mad about the what the video was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the real Jews are black.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real issue that they got with that. That he's saying what Jews are black? No,
Right.
that's
Did y'all watch
anti.
that video?
That's anti-Semitic. That's anti. And then like so, Kyrie Irving's position is, if I believe that I'm Jewish, my statement cannot be anti-Semitic because I'm only speaking about my own people.
Right.
So when you see it from that angle, you realize the real issue is what y'all. Oh, y'all mad because he's saying Jews is black, and y'all offended by that.
Right.
But there's,
I
my
watch
issue is that there's a whole culture of Black Jews. So
And that is
whole
true.
coast.
a whole like few countries.
It's a biggin. It's a biggin. I watched the video.
Yeah, I never saw it, but
Don't watch it. I mean, you can watch it if you want to, but what I got from it, if now this is just my opinion, and my ace opinion too. I believe he be switching up sometimes, but when we watched it, I ain't lying, we were both like, "What? What is going on?" It was a bunch of vocabulary. It was a vocabulary lesson, and we didn't get anything for the most part. Probably one thing in there, anything about. I don't even think we got anything about black people being Jews or Jews being black. I think we were so over the vocabulary lesson that
mm,
had the Jewish community not said anything, most of us wouldn't even paid any attention.
mm.
I wasn't gonna watch that. I would have never watched that if it wasn't such a big thing. So we see,
Well,
girl,
here,
you're so cute. So we agree that the tier is Jews. Well, for my tier, Jews, LGBT. Am I still on the screen? Christians and the black people on the floor.
The Black people on the floor. Jesus.
I'm just saying that's my take. That's my take.
let me
Anybody
ask.
else have a take on it?
Let me ask you this question, Brand.
What's up, D? Hmm?
Is censorship a bad thing?
Censorship is a bad thing when you're only censoring one group and not everybody the exact same way. That's just like saying is policing bad. It's not bad, but you got to police everybody the same way.
But okay, never mind.
And I get that. I do get that because of what people say, and it's not just Christians that are causing the LGBT community to be harmed. It's not just Christians, because
Hey,
you have agnostics that don't agree with homosexuality. You have some transgender people who don't believe in um it was one of them that said that he doesn't or she doesn't believe. I don't know who it was. I just remember
you
hearing it that um if you're
my
trans, you should tell people that you're trans. Like
Oh,
you,
like
it's not
hiding it.
just, hmm?
Not about hiding it.
Right. It's not just Christians that are causing the harm. So I feel like, and I do feel like what people are saying harms people, just like it harms the black community. What people are saying, but if you're going to censor people the same way,
I,
and or with very little variance.
But that would mean that they would have to be fair. Oh, the audacity for
Right. Girl,
you
if
to
I had
suggest
pearls, I would clutch them. How dare me think that way?
the audacity of you saying fairness is
It's the right thing. Sorry, I take it back.
the audacity.
My bad. You're about to say something?
yeah, I
Well,
was
I was.
gonna say
Oh,
that
go ahead.
you are correct. I think that for me a big issue is they won't attack the Muslims like that at all. They won't say nothing to Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, right? And you know and you know why I believe that is? It's because
Because they don't play the
they
radio.
right. It's because they know they're a threat, right? They
That's what I'm
know
talking about.
they'll respond in a way that Christians most Christians won't respond, right? So the genius about what they do is sometimes what they'll do is use our own belief structure against us to keep us docile, right? So if you say something in a particular way, it's like believers ain't supposed to say that, and we can kind of bank on them not responding in a way that's super overly aggressive, right? That's super overly like offensive, right? And it's easy to attack Christians because I believe we are as Christianity is the only really religion that allows itself to be criticized. If you look at Muslims, like you can go through
Agreed.
the Bible, open up the Bible, and people can criticize the Bible, but they will not do the same thing with the Quran, right? Because if you do that in one of those those Islamic countries, they'll kill you for that. So it's like there is this open attack per se that people are allowed to do
Mm.
on the religion that's not necessarily that they won't do with any other they won't do it in that in any other religion. They won't attack Buddhists, they won't attack Hindus. I mean, think about it. They won't do none of that.
So
But I
are you?
also think But I also think that has to do with the fact that America is considered a free country, free nation versus most countries that practice Islam is are very highly censored. Like highly censored.
Thank you for the confirmation.
Yeah, so I think that more has to do with the fact that, especially even those who practice that, even the ones who live in the United States who practice that, it's still very highly censored because of their belief. So I still think that's comparing.
What
Go
you
ahead.
mean by that?
He said, "What do you mean
How
by that?"
To criticize, for example, to criticize the Quran.
where's that highly censored at?
That's why I said in Islam, in countries that practice Islam.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean I'm saying specifically in the states.
No,
You wouldn't. I wouldn't do that around I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't criticize that around Muslim people, especially those who are not open to discussing it.
Right. Well, and what I'm saying is, I agree that probably, but people will do that about Christians.
right.
There is no governor. There is people have an open debate about this about what the text say, hands down, because they'll say in the Quran
Until
in the
you get until you go by some Christian extremists.
but right. But what I'm saying is,
Christian.
how often does
Oh
that
wow.
really happen? If you look at statistically, how often that really happens where Christian extremists really get upset about you? Because most Christians can be apologetics, right? Are apologists, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're really open to
I can agree to
having that
that.
having that discussion with you, right? Even where you can say whatever you want to about the God of the Bible, you can say whatever you want to about Jesus and stuff, right? But there is no death penalty for that, right? So what I'm saying is there is a certain level of respect for Islam, even inside of America, that
Right.
Christians aren't afforded, right? The LGBT, I ain't never heard of LGBTQ. I'm not saying that it never happened. Say something about Islam and Muslims and what they believe as it
So
relates to their plight, even though they speak out about it.
hard.
But the main focus is always on Christians.
So let me ask this: do you think they're picking on? You know how in school you pick on a little guy? Although there's a lot of Christians out there, do you think it's a matter of just picking on the little guy?
Nah,
You
Honest
mean
to
with the
God,
Christians? Who's
no,
the
I
little
mean
guy in this scenario?
the Christian. So we can
Okay.
pick on them. So let's pick on them. We'll get away with it if we pick on them, but we won't pick on
nah,
somebody else.
nah. I think it's the opposite. I think they look at the Christians as bullies. So they think they're the big guy. They're taking out the big guy. We're taking out the number one religious belief here
The
in
threat.
America. The majority of people in America do claim to be Christian. So the
That's why I
least
had to clarify
religious.
who's considered the little guy because I can never consider the Christian community in the United States the little guy.
No, they're not.
I mean, in respect to the ones that's not going to fight back. Well, I mean, there of course Christians are fighting back, but the ones that aren't going to
Like
Islam.
the fire. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. They are. I believe they do feel like the LGBT community does feel like they're taking out the big dogs or the bad guys or the ones that speak heavily against them. But like the realist said, the Islam community does they go in and they stand literally 10 toes down. Like this is what I feel. You'll be okay. Suck it up. I dare you to say something to me.
Yeah. And I done seen like, LGBTQ events where believers are there just sharing the gospel and they attack them. They pull I've seen Christians get beat on by them. Beat
I have
on.
to.
I'm thinking, bro, you're saying that you don't want to get beat on because of who you are, yet in turn somebody will show up that's opposite of what you think, and then you'll beat on them, and you'll tear down their signs, and you'll take away their rights, and it's like, which one is it gonna be, bro? If you're fighting for equal rights, then even at these events, you got to be equal in sharing these rights. Because if not, then you're only perpetuating, right, the same idea that you saying ain't working for you. So it has to be a level of equality around the board for it to work. Otherwise, you will be having a circular argument about what's fair and what's not fair the entire time.
Right. So that's what I mean in respects to censorship. It should be even across the board. If I can't bash you, don't bash me. And then I've gotten where someone has said, I think I mentioned it earlier, where it's like, okay, you believe that eating pork is wrong based on your religion, although I mean I don't eat pork, I'm not a fan of it. But somebody will be like, well, take your religion out of it, take what you believe out of it. And I'm like, how do I do that? If I'm not what I believe, then who am I? And it's like, you trying to censor me from what I believe. That's like, I mean, that's a form of censorship too. I just said it, censor me.
I would
So,
have loved to have. I would have loved to see here. I wish Chubby was on pulled up on this one. He would be.
right,
This is like his expertise. This is like his thing.
right.
You
I'm
know,
sure
I would
he's
I would have
vying to get
loved to
here.
hear from him his thoughts and stuff like that because you know he got different insights, statistics and stuff we could really just go into about it. You know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
get it. He watching the kids, so daddy duties.
Yeah. I was he has no he has rehearsals. He has rehearsals on Wednesday. I don't know what he rehearsing for.
And I'm physically being assaulted.
We weren't invited. She just keep making sure you're still there. She's keeping you awake. Good job, little mama. But I think so. All in all, if you had to sum it up, how would you sum up the censorship? We're going to stick with censorship of the Christian world versus the LGBT world. How would you sum it up?
I mean, man, man, I think, I
Oh,
think, I think, I don't know, man, because I do believe in force culture, right? I'm a big,
uh-huh.
I'm a big believer in force culture, right? But I also think because Christians aren't up in arms about what people say about them, you know what I'm saying? There's just leeway to do it. And I don't think we should be, as believers, I don't think we should be up in arms about what people say, right? Because the scripture tell us that that's what's gonna happen, right? Like people gonna say negative things, they're gonna do negative things. So everything that transpired isn't happening outside of what the scripture says is gonna happen. So I think the censorship is equal, right? But I don't know, man. Come back to me.
Okay. D.
Well, as I said before, I I still think it's like comparing apples to oranges.
Mhm. They're both
Um,
fruit, though.
huh?
They're both fruit.
All right, fine. Apples to cars.
Too late. Go ahead.
I just don't think that they're in the same category. I just don't think that they fall under. Yes, there's some censorship for on behalf of the LGBTQIA plus community, but also they are not the they're not the majority accepted in the country.
Okay.
Oh, I think you know what I see what you I see what you I think I get what you're saying, Dr. Jackson. Because if we can go to a time like outside of, let's just say, United States, or like when Christianity in Rome was like a four-letter word, right? You couldn't claim to be a Christian, right? It was like the least like
Correct.
religion at one time. So if the LGBTQ community, if we had both of those in that one situation, then you would think it would be a better comparison, correct?
Yes.
And so because here, Christianity is accepted,
Christianity is not a bad word here.
right,
It's not a bad
right,
word. It's not a
right. It's
curse
not a
word.
negative. There's no negative.
It's,
Well, there, yeah,
and
right. So it's hard to compare the two to see who has more censorship or not. I see that. That's a good point. That's a real good point. That's a real good point.
So
Yeah, I think that's the part I'm struggling with too, because it's like, how do we balance this out like that? But it's hard to balance it out.
it is because it's like a scale where it's like, okay, this side of the scale has 10 oranges, and the other one is like, okay, one little half an orange.
oh, now it's oranges and oranges.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
Granted,
I would say if there was a debate on stage and it was a Christian person at the podium and it was an LGBT member of the community member at the other podium, the Christian will have more censorship. The Christian will have to
Watch what they
censor
say more.
themselves way more than, forget the numbers. I get it.
Yeah,
I get
no, no,
Christianity.
no, no, no. Explain to me. Explain it. If
I
we're in
can.
a if we're
I
in a
understand that.
no, no, no. Oh, listen. Hear me out. If we're in an honest political debate,
Hmm.
and I need you to understand my point clearly from my perspective, and you need me to understand your point clearly from your perspective, why would I have to censor myself? What would be
You'd
the
have
what?
to,
Well, no, 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 no. That's the wrong question. That's the wrong question. That's the
because I
wrong
say
question.
you'd have to watch what you say about
No,
certain
no, 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 no.
topics.
Listen, no,
Period.
no. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's the wrong question. What words couldn't I say in that debate?
You cannot say, well, I don't know what you cannot say. Even
See,
now
that's
you
what.
have to censor yourself. But I would say
What words can what
I would
words
say
can a person?
I'm
Oh, my
trying to
bad.
answer your question. You can't say homosexuality is wrong.
Why?
Because then you're gonna
You
get attacked.
automatically
You're
lose the
gonna be
debate.
homophobic.
That's what I'm trying to say. We not talking about a good honest debate, because if we had a
Nobody's saying
honest.
it's never gonna be. That's the point. It's never gonna be a good,
There's
honest
no good
debate.
honest
That's
debate.
the point.
Even
I disagree.
anything political is dirty.
I
It's
disagree.
never
I
gonna be a
disagree.
good, honest debate.
I've seen a bunch of debates online, even on YouTube, where both people have different stances and they say that it's wrong, and these people have not been canceled. So I wholeheartedly disagree. There's a bunch of
What do you mean?
videos out
Yeah,
there.
but what kind of standards are we talking about? It's just like, oh, Bob and Sally that live down the street
No,
on 301, or is this somebody?
I'm talking about big name people. Ben Shapiro, he's one of them that stands. Jesse, whatchamacallit, Candace. Oh, I mean, I can name a bunch of people who took this stance and had these debates with people about whether they think this is legit and not legit, and they haven't lost it. They haven't lost anything. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can. If we having a debate, you have to. You cannot position your stance on it and have people understand. Then it's not going to be a debate.
I'm not saying that it's gonna be a debate. It's gonna be a debate.
No,
What?
it cannot be a debate. It can't be an honest
Okay,
debate.
you feel that it cannot be an honest debate. I
Yeah.
feel that it's going to be a debate. Like I
Uh-huh.
just said, it's not going to be an honest debate. It's not going to be an honest and fair debate. I agree. No debate is actually that way. None of them. What I'm saying is the Christian person will have to, they can still say homosexuality is wrong. They just have to watch how they say it.
That don't even make no sense.
Who
This is
said it
what
had to
you
make sense? Who said it made sense? Who said it was
listen.
fair?
How do you say homosexuality is wrong How do you watch how you say that?
I don't know. I'm not in
There
a
is
debate.
no other way. There is no way to say
But if
that.
I'm on a stage, but if I'm on a stage and I'm talking about it, then I'm even if I pause for 2 seconds before I say homosexuality is wrong, I've been censored because I'm considering what I say before I say it. The LGBT,
Because even
I
even the
feel like,
idea,
say again.
sorry, because I was saying even the idea of people being up on arms about, for example, Disney Channel having some homosexual stuff on it, or even them teaching about homosexuality in school, or teaching about safe gay sex in sex ed, they're up in arms about that stuff. Like a lot of people are up in arms about that stuff, and they have to watch how they say it.
You know what? Y'all
Right. And
bringing
if you pull your
y'all,
kid out of that class
listen. Y'all bringing circumstantial information to the situation,
to the
right?
debate,
But
No,
if that's part of the debate, say if those are the two
no.
things we're debating, and
This,
you have a Christian person debating against a homosexual person, that essentially the Christian person is going to have to censor themselves as far as how they bring that information forth, versus
what do you? That's what I'm trying to. You know
based
what I?
based on how they present it.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's I guess because I'm an apologist, kind of sort of myself, and I understand like the different perspective of if we had that conversation, kind of what would be said. I'm trying to understand how do you what like y'all saying you got to censor saying that you stand against something when clearly when we already up there we already know that we on two opposite sides. So to
right?
hold on, so to not be able to communicate that point in a debate or be censored on how you say that point when you can just how do you censor saying I don't believe in homosexuality?
So I think,
I think that same sex marriage is wrong. You hear it on the TV all the time.
right.
A lot of
So
times they'll phrase it and say that it is unnatural instead of saying it's wrong.
who
A lot of
agree?
times they will just curve the way it's said. Either way, it's they still have to make it palatable.
And plus, I feel like if a Christian was like,
Well, y'all
um,
gotta think Christians
hold on, hold on, hold
ain't
on, hold
hold
on,
on
hold
because
on,
I need to
hold
add
on,
this
hold
caveat
on,
so you
hold on,
can
hold on, hold
understand.
on.
No,
I
hold on.
held on
I
for
need
you.
you
Hold
to
on for me. I held
I
on for you. Hold on for
hold
me.
on. I need you to
No,
understand one little
no, I held
caveat.
on for you. Hold on for me. My
Cause
turn.
no, cause
My turn.
this gonna
My
help you.
turn. My
Listen,
turn. I don't
this
care.
gonna
My turn. So if you're on the
cuz
stage and you have a
this
Christian
gonna help
person
you. What you
that's
call it?
saying homosexuality is evil, even if the homosexual person says Christianity is evil, the one that said homosexuality is evil is going to get way more pushback than the other. Even though they said the same thing, this person is going to be way more pushback than the other person.
Now you talking about something different. I'm
No, I'm
still
not.
talking.
I'm
I'm
saying you cannot, it's gonna be censored. It's not gonna be a fair debate. It's gonna be censored regardless.
I don't. That's this what I'm trying to understand because you just told me that somebody could say something and then one person gonna get the more backlash than the other person.
Right. So they said,
Clearly, right. So what I'm trying to say is clearly both people was able to communicate whatever it was they was able to communicate to get the actual backlash. The only way people would respond in backlash is if somebody said something that they was meaning to say on their position that deserved the actual backlash that they're gonna get. So I keep what you keep pointing out is what I keep saying is when you having these conversations, there is no real way to really try to censor this. You got to just come out and say what it is. And I think what we missing is no matter what we say and how we say it, the other side still gonna be offended. I don't care what you say. Now, if we talking about the consequences of if we talking
That's
about the
backlash. That's
no,
the
no,
definition of
right,
backlash.
right, right. But I'm not talking about the actual consequences of being real up front, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual being real up front and dealing with the consequences. Because I think a lot of times we got to understand when you get a lot of these Christian apologists who have these conversations, they're not politicians, right? They already understand a real true. Keep saying people who let me not say a true believer. People who understand people who understand the text. realize that when we are, standing, we're not really trying to win the argument. We really trying to win the person through discussion. A, but B, we realize that the offense and backlash gonna come with it. Most of us look forward to it because it tells us that we suffering with Christ. So whatever people may think against us that says, "Oh, let's do this and let's do that," that don't matter because it's part of the suffering. You feel what I'm saying? So
You're
so
missing the
so
point.
I ain't know. I'm know what I'm trying. You missing the point. The point that I'm trying to make
Don't get
is
offended because I said you're missing the point. I mean,
no.
nobody
The point.
said that they're not going to get backlash. Nobody said
No,
that they're not
I,
going to
I
get
never.
backlash.
I never.
What they're
No.
trying to avoid is the
No.
heavy of the
The
backlash
original
because they're
statement that
not going to win.
they is not trying to avoid that, which is what I keep trying to point out to
So
you.
you're saying they're not trying to avoid the heavy of the backlash?
No, they not. That's what I keep trying. That's how I know y'all ain't. Y'all must not have really watched a Christian debate against a transsexual. You couldn't have been. You couldn't have watched that. You could. You could. I've seen a bunch of them. So
What's a
I'm not
bunch?
even.
Because
I'm
you have
at least.
3.6
I've seen at
billion
least
people in
30.
America.
I've seen at
What's a
least
bunch?
30
Now, if
different.
you say 10, I'm gonna be mad.
I've seen at least 30 different videos. I watch this stuff on a
Different
regular.
people, same people.
Different,
Everybody's different.
same
None of them
person.
are the same people.
Listen, I know probably about 5 or 6 different ones, but that's
Okay,
not the point. The point that
maybe
I'm
it's
trying to tell you is this something that I do as myself. So I ain't just talking from the videos. I'm talking from even my position. You feel me? So I'm saying, well, if it's a open, full on debate, right? I don't believe that there is this level of censorship, right, where you can have an honest conversation and prove your point without offending somebody else. When I speak of offense, I'm saying stuff like, "Oh, you a doo-doo chaser." Like I'm talking about those type of offenses or something like that, right?
you
Not
can't say
you.
that.
Nah, you can't. Nah,
Why
because
not?
the only thing that should be offensive as apologists is the gospel, not what we say.
So
You
you
feel what I'm
can't
saying?
say you're a doodle chaser.
No, you cannot say that.
Why not?
Come on, man.
I'm not understanding. Why not?
I wouldn't even say that. I think that's
Why
offensive.
not though? You're not
That's a
answering the question. Why
that's a
not? Answer
I
that
think
question.
I well a I don't think it's the right word to say.
Why
Because
not?
of the censorship.
Not
Because you
because
have to
no.
watch what you say. A
No, that
homosexual
is
person wouldn't have to watch
no,
that.
no. Listen to what I'm saying. I would not say it because the if you're trying to say somebody the sense I wouldn't say it because I feel like it is very offensive and could be taken in a way to where it'll take away from the message that I'm trying to come across.
But that's how you feel.
You got to be tact. Now listen, I'm not saying that if I get into it, if one of them get into it with me and they slap me, you know what I'm saying? I might not respond in a way and be like, that might be I'm not saying that might not never happen because because
No.
the context of the situation different. But if we having a real fledged on debate, I'm not gonna say something that's gonna try to offend this man or woman. You know what I'm saying? My intentions is going to try to get my point across. You feel
But
me?
if you're being honest in an honest and open debate, you should be able to say you're a doodle chaser.
No, you should not.
Yes, you should.
Yes, you should.
You're
No,
Because
censoring me if
if
you're
you're
saying
able
that
to
I
say
can't
what
say
you
that
want,
because I'm going to offend
listen.
someone.
Okay, listen. You know what? You're right. I'm gonna take that back. You should be able to say it. You
because
are
remember
right. And what I
you
keep
were
and
saying
listen and
earlier.
listen to what y'all saying because I don't
I
disagree.
hear what I'm saying.
Y'all saying you should be able to say it, and I said I agree. What I said was even though this is humility and being me, even though I have the power to actually say it, I'm going to choose to use something different. Not because I'm afraid of being censored by somebody. That is not why. That is not why.
What decides what is right to say or
I
not?
think.
What
I think the conversation. The only reason why I chose that word in it of itself because it was offensive. I don't think that's not my. I wouldn't
who
normally say
decides
that.
what's offensive?
What do what?
Who decides what is
That's a good
offensive?
question. That's a good question.
Who decides what's offensive?
The
Because
other
that's what
person.
I'm trying to say. Because, like, for example,
I'm not
what are
debating that.
give me a name that somebody would be calling like an offensive name for a Christian.
I
I
I
can't think of
I
one.
you
I don't
only
like being called a Bible thumper. It's not
Okay,
like it's not offensive. Like it's
no,
not like
like
we're gonna
it's
fight.
not on the level of
a
doodle chaser.
heretic. You call a Christian a heretic. That is offensive. That's very
Is it?
offensive.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's as
yeah.
offensive as a duty chaser, but
But okay, that's good. But listen. What I'm
But
saying
that's
is,
that's apples and cars.
no, it's not even. What I'm saying is, you warranted to how you feel. I'm not taking away from none of that. The only point that I'm trying to make by using this offensive words, I'm only bringing that in the context of when we having a debate. The intent of the conversation is to not just win the actual debate, it's to win the actual person. And in order for me to win the actual person, I wouldn't go and use an offensive word because for one, even though I had the power to say it, that doesn't mean it's necessary to say.
I'm
but
gonna
Right?
that's
say
what we're
that's a
trying. But that's our
conversation.
point:
But
is the
that's
fact that for the most part, homosexual people would not have to censor themselves in that way. They can say whatever they want and not get the backlash that you would have gotten by calling them a
But
doodle chaser.
here's
and
what I'm
that's
saying.
actually a
Y'all,
conversation. If
that's
you
what I'm
have
saying.
a debate, then
Y'all
you're trying
talking
to
about
win the
something.
you're
Y'all
trying to
talking
win the
about something.
audience. In a
Y'all
debate,
talk.
in a
Y'all
conversation, you're
talk.
trying to win the
Listen.
other person over.
Y'all talking about something completely different. Listen to
How are
what
we both talking about the
I'm
same
finna.
thing and
I'm
you
finna
talking about
tell.
something different? You talking about something different, darn it.
I'm going to. That's a good question, and I'm going to tell you how. Her response to me was the other person doesn't have to censor themselves. Now, the one thing that she hasn't recognized in even making that statement, that's assuming that they aren't thinking, let me try to win them over and not say something that's offensive to them. So let me finish. So that part in and of itself could be true. So to assume the worst in that situation means that you're not having objective thinking. And I'm saying in my objective thinking in this particular situation, I have to, in these particular conversations, we cannot assume that the other person is going to intentionally offend me because they may be thinking the same way I'm thinking. Now, the only way we're going to find that out is when we go actually into the actual conversation. And then we can find out whether both things are going to be true. But outside of that, I'm only talking about, which is why I mentioned, an honest debate. And both people going to have to make the choice to what? Maybe not say something that's offensive.
Can I talk
But
now?
go
Can I
ahead.
talk now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were following along, no offense, I'm not trying to offend you. Nobody said the LGBTQ community is uncensored. It was said who is more censored. So we all have a censoring whatever it is in our
I don't
brain.
even know what that's. I don't
I'm
even know why
talking
you.
now.
I don't understand why you saying that.
I'm talk. Well, if you let me talk, you'll know why I'm saying it.
Okay, I'm trying to get that.
You said you said that how do you know the other person isn't censoring themselves? I'm
Why did
saying
I say
that
that?
Let her finish. Let her
You
finish.
gotta say why I said it.
I don't have to say that. Let me
You know
answer.
what?
Let
You
me
right. Hey, you know
respond first
what?
before
You
you
right.
ask me
That's
a question.
my bad. I apologize.
I can't wait Memorial Day week. Ooh. Now, what I'm saying is,
You
you
gonna do
said,
nothing but put your arms around my neck.
you know it. You, we ain't friends right now. You said how do you know the other person isn't censoring themselves? I'm saying they probably are censoring themselves, but the Christian is censoring themselves way more, in my opinion. And again, I am around the LGBT community often, being in the industry that I'm in, and because some of them are just the most wonderful people. They're just I love them. Hey, Court. But and there's this group that we used to have in Georgia, which we need to start back up. We're going to start back up, and we would have these conversations. And I'm an observer. You know me. I'm going to watch for a little bit. I'm gonna watch before I jump in. When I say the LGBT community said whatever the freak they wanted to say, while everybody else was like, well, And they were like dot 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 dot, and then they they really do, and I'm not mad at it. Again, I wish black people could get to that level. They do not censor themselves as much as Christian people or anybody.
You
Well,
know
no,
what I hear? You know what I hear? You know what I hear you communicating?
what you hear?
Personal choices. That's what I hear you communicating.
Ouch.
Personal choices. And what I mean by that is
Mm-hmm.
I already pointed out the fact that all of us can be uncensored. We can look at people who claim to be, we can look at people who claim to be Christians, and they post stuff that you be like, come on, man, you know that's devilish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what? So I'm only trying to point to the fact that they can choose to do it just like the other side can choose to do it.
Nobody is.
Those are personal choices. They are not more censored because somebody is putting more censors on them. They more censored because that's what they choosing to do.
Society is putting more censors on them.
That's what we're saying. It's not.
They
And
are
It's not.
society
in
determines
the
what's
It's not that
offensive, because you
confines
didn't
person.
in
answer
the
that
con
question either.
in the con
Society
It's
determines what's offensive.
exactly
It's
in the
not
because
personal.
okay.
just like we were saying that in
I
the
ain't seen.
workplace, if you said something negative and derogatory against a Christian, you would not get fired. However, if you said something that was quote unquote
That is
homophobic,
not true. That
that
is
is
not true.
grounds for termination. That is
I
absolutely
seen.
grounds for
Listen,
termination.
I work for a company where I know somebody from a different religion saying something about a Christian religion, and they terminated them.
That was
How
that company's
often does
choice,
that
though.
happen?
No, but no.
But I'm trying
No.
to
The
say,
point.
like, for example, I work in healthcare. Okay, I work in healthcare where I have to be very objective and I treat everyone the same despite. And if
I
I
get
ever
you.
say something disparaging to someone, especially of the LGBTQIA plus community, that would be my employment.
I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm saying
But if I'm
that
atheist and I say something, say if I'm atheist and I say something about I'm not losing my job.
in healthcare that might not happen. In other corporate
In most
America,
jobs, that's not going to happen.
In
I
most
that can,
jobs, that's not gonna happen.
In most jobs, in most industries, it's not going to happen. Your company, maybe your company's
can
a
I ask
Christian
y'all?
based company.
Can I ask y'all something?
Are we gonna
Sure.
be able to answer it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
How y'all making these absolute statements about most companies? How y'all work for most companies to make that statement? Have y'all done the statistics on most companies to say, hey man, I know for a fact in most companies this is actually happening. I'm speaking to y'all from
I've
either.
worked in most industries. I've worked in the food industry.
And
I've
you
worked
heard
in customer service.
you heard people go to HR about somebody saying something about Christianity and nothing happened at each one of those companies. You were so fortunate that happened everywhere you went, huh?
No,
So I'm gonna use your example. You watch these debates online, right?
What about?
About the Christians, and they debate and they have honest debates or whatever.
Uh-huh.
All the stuff I see online, I said something about the LGBT community, I got fired. I don't see too many people talking about. I said somebody Christian people got fired,
Why do you,
but
that's how I
I work
know
for a company.
that's how I know the
You
you
conversation
didn't
remember
let
you
me
might
said
answer
you
the
were
be.
gonna let
question
her
or not.
talk.
That's what
No,
I thought
because
that's what he
you
said.
know what? Yeah,
I
you
thought
know
that's
what?
what he said. I
You know
thought that's
what?
what he
Hey,
said.
you know
He
what? Hey,
lied.
listen.
He's not a real
You're
Christian.
supposed
He
to let her
lied.
Hey,
talk now. You're
I'm
supposed to
So
let
really
her
go
not.
talk.
ahead and
Hey,
answer the
listen.
question.
I don't mind being accountable. I appreciate the accountability, Queen.
If I can see your face right now, look. I worked I worked for a company very diverse. You have Christians, you had Jehovah's Witnesses, you had LGBT, you had everybody. And yeah, and it is a big company, big company. If you say something about Christianity, because I've had coworkers come to me and was like, I don't know why they get to say this about me, and because I'm a Christian, they want to da 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 da. and that person and the two of them are working together on the same at the same time. But the people I know that have said something about the LGBT community, no, you get no strikes. You out.
Right.
The other person got points. You got to watch what you say. You get 2 points. Okay. The other people, I'm gonna point you to the door. You out.
So if I'm understanding you correctly.
And then hold on, I'm sorry. I just got a little bit more.
Okay.
And then if you look again online, TikTok, all of them about the people that you don't see nobody talking about not too many. Actually, I'm going to say nobody because I've never seen it. Talking about I said something about the Christians and I got fired. I ain't never seen that. But I do see people talking about, they talk about the LGBT community and they're like, they got Chuck the deuces. Man, and that's a lot of people because they don't tell you, they don't control who you swipe and see on your For You page.
This is what I do know. I don't believe everything I see on social media. People be
except for those debates, huh?
Well, it was these were live recordings at colleges. So this is a real professional. I'm not talking about some, like this, like anyways. So
I get what you're saying.
So this, all I'm trying to tell you is, in most of these situations, Christians don't go to HR complaining about somebody saying they said something about me being a Christian. That is a fact.
Okay? But that's her point. Her point.
So
that proves Brandy's point, though.
What point does that prove?
Because she knows that she's not going to move anywhere and it's not going to make any movement. And because of the fact that we don't push for that kind of justice, like the LGBTQIA plus community, because we know we're not going to
debate.
I'm about to mute you.
I wasn't going against the point that Christians could do more to actually cause change. I didn't say that was not true.
Well, no, I was saying that she wouldn't get any. She probably would not get any movement. They wouldn't do anything about it. Hence the reason they don't even try.
Here's an example.
Well, I don't understand why that's relevant, because I wasn't saying that wasn't true.
Here's an example. I was at work, and the guy in charge said, "Go back to your cage."
Hold on, stop. What I'm trying to figure out, if one is more reported than the other because the other people choose not to be offended and report it. I'm trying to understand. Help me understand where y'all going with this.
So let's be clear. No one's saying that it's not reported. No one's saying that one is more reported than the other. What usually gets out in the media, what is usually told, are the ones that have effect.
Well,
that's what we're going to hear about. The ones that have effect.
I was talking about work. You went from work to media. I'm
talking about work.
Yeah, media, that's what she's talking about.
The news, media is media. The newspaper, media is media. You focus on the television. I'm focused on everything that's media related.
What's going to be publicized?
Right. It's a lot of. I don't have an example right now, but I'm just going to use it. It's a lot of dog fighting going on, right? A lot of dog fighting. But when it's somebody of stature like Mike Vick, then that makes the media, right? Because his consequences were deep, right? If you have all these people talking about Christianity, and then you have this one person that says something about the LGBT community and they get fired from their job, that's what they're going to talk about. They're not going to be like, oh, but 17,000 people complained about the Christians. Complained about being harassed as a Christian.
Why is that relevant? I'm trying to figure out why that's. I don't disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Right. Okay. I don't know what more to say.
We don't know where to go with this now.
Thank you for answering that. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say.
I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall.
I'm on his carousel, and that thing is bobbing, and look at that tree again.
We was originally talking about, you know what I'm saying, Christians being uncensored to have a debate.
But we were trying to come around and basically try to explain the different avenues that we can tackle that at, to show you the point that we're trying to get at. But it just seems like
No, right, but everything y'all keep talking about is the consequences of those actions, which I already recognized a long time ago. That's why I keep saying it ain't go over my head. Y'all still drowning. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I said it. A
Right.
long time ago that we talking about the consequences,
Swim, so swim.
consequences of the actions, and everything y'all just explained was talking about consequences from somebody's actions. But
That's
I,
what we're
which
talking
But
about,
but
though.
that's the
That's why
topic of the
censorship
thing.
is there.
That's the
y'all missed
topic.
no, that is not the point in which the point.
That's why censorship is there.
No,
Protect. What do we need to be protected from if there's no consequences? That's basically what the.
listen to what I'm saying. Listen,
Okay.
look,
Yes, sir.
as I'm talking to, you know what? It don't. It don't even.
No,
It don't.
I
No,
want to
say
hear what
it.
you're
Now y'all
saying.
got it.
We're
Y'all got it. You
listening.
know what?
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand where you're going with this. Go ahead, please.
Nah, man.
I don't want to
No,
censor you.
legit.
I
What
don't
do you
want
want
to
to say?
censor you. Come on, come on, come on.
Y'all better off playing lotto than playing me. You know what I'm saying? You might win something You might win something scratching
Where?
that
No,
off.
no, you lost so
Nah,
heavy you don't even realize you lost. That's how much
nah,
we
nah,
lapped you, and because we behind you, you think you winning
nah.
the race. That's what
Nah,
that is.
you sound like one of them debaters. See, this ain't about. I keep telling you, it ain't about winning or losing. But anyways, though, I'm
It
telling
is
you,
about winning or losing. Even if
it
you're
is.
trying to,
It is
then you
not.
didn't you
I
say
was
it
listen.
is because
I'm
aren't you
only
trying to
listen.
win the other person over? And if you are unable to win the other person over, did you not lose?
No, no, not man. I think when you witness to people, man, you plant a seed. So I think that's a win,
But
right? Because
that's not how debates work.
That's not how
every
debates work. Debate is
That's
about
not how
winning.
debates work. Somebody always wins the debate. There's always a winner and a loser for a debate.
And when you're in a
I
debate, you're
listen.
trying. And when you're in a debate, you're trying to get the
Listen.
crowd to.
What I'm trying to tell you, you can lose a debate, plant a seed in somebody's mind that will win them over later. So though you might have lost that battle, you still can win the actual war based off the seed that's planted in the person's mind. So yeah, you could lose, quote unquote, a debate, but if you
And
plant a
okay,
seed that makes a person rethink their position and then they change their position based off of the debate, who really won?
let me ask this. So
Who
if you're
won?
trying, so if you're trying to win somebody over, right? And I just want a yes or no. Don't yell at me. If you're trying to win somebody over, are you going to consider what you say before you say it?
I started out that's what I'm trying to say. Y'all slow.
No,
I
I know
started
you answered it, but I want you to answer it again.
I
Yeah, you
started out
said that.
listen,
I know. It's a
I
yes or
started
no. It's a yes or
I,
no. Just give me a
I'm
yes or no and
always
then go
going
into what you're going to
listen,
say.
I'm
Go
always
give me a
going to
yes or no and then go into what
no,
you're going to say.
hold on, Tom. It don't work like that. I'm
Get,
always
why?
going to because you still can understand what I'm. Remember, you the one
Apparently
who
not.
said
You
you can
said we
communicate
drowning.
something.
You said we
Stop.
drowning. So give it to us
Yeah,
simple
yeah. That's why I gotta say.
because
That's
you
why I
so
gotta say
deep.
it slow. That's why I gotta say it slow. You got floaters on. You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna take a minute to get to the top. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, I'm saying I've already
Oh,
communicated that I always think before I communicate anything to make sure what I'm saying.
That's censoring yourself. Go ahead. Continue.
Man, you know what? I almost hung up.
Dang. That's messed up. That's messed up. I ain't hang up on you. I ain't hang you up. I ain't almost hang you up. That's messed up.
Oh man, you know what,
My
man?
feelings hurt.
You know what? You know what, man? What time is it? That's what it is.
You got time.
No, I ain't got who.
You've been on this way later before. Don't talk about time now, my friend.
Yeah. I'm done,
But
man.
anywho, but since
I'm,
since you trying to hang up on me, dang, you see how they be doing? You see how?
I'm done.
Wow. Wow. I'm gonna stare you in your eye for a long time when I see you.
And I'm gonna tell you something. It's only a reminder. You only gonna remind me of how handsome I am. I ain't never had a woman stay at me for too long. So if you stay at me longer than
Oh
that,
well, you gonna feel real handsome when I see you.
well, that's it. And I appreciate the encouragement. You know what I'm saying?
But
Because
but
the way y'all were trying to
but
throw these straps, the way y'all were trying to put these lashes across my back tonight, y'all had the
well,
ones
nobody
that was whipping Jesus with claws. Y'all trying to
no,
pull
stop
skin and
it,
everything, God. I
stop
said,
it.
golly, nigga can't even
No,
breathe.
were you trying to put lashes across his back?
Nah,
I'm
nah.
saying she and I, for some reason, it's the
I'm
craziest
just,
thing.
I'm just being
Understood was on the same page.
Because typically me and Brandy are not on the same page.
Huh?
So
listen,
typically me and Brandy are not on the same page.
it took a real nigga to come on here and put y'all on the same page. Y'all need to be thanking me. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't
For
have
you
never
being
happened if
so
I wouldn't even
lost?
jumped
Thank
on
you
here.
for being
Thank
lost.
you. But that's the power I got. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
Y'all,
gosh.
you know what I'm saying? Y'all got I jump on here, y'all got ESP together and stuff. Come on now. You feel me?
No.
Yeah. So now first
You
just
so
like a
far
woman,
over in left field that we're just like,
bring me back down, huh?
She's so
God,
far over in
be
left field.
careful.
We're hitting home runs and right. That's
Yeah.
that's what's going on.
Huh?
You don't even realize you need to go to the other side.
Come on,
Get
man.
out of here, you fearless.
I'm everywhere, all at once.
Okay, so you the Lord.
No, 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 no,
You
no.
said no, no.
I
That
just
that
am
no got
everywhere.
deep.
Yeah.
That no got so deep.
Well, anyway, so man, it's been a pleasure, man. You know what I'm saying,
Indeed.
y'all?
I'm sure we gonna have this conversation. Oh Lord,
Yeah,
next
yeah.
we're
And
gonna
last
bring
word.
Lisa in there. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go first so that me
Nah.
and Danielle and I can survive. You go first. Do you have any final? This is how
Nah,
you feel. This is what it's gonna be.
listen. I appreciate
the
the
banter.
the friendly banter. You know what I'm saying? Please don't take offense to
Oh,
I don't get offended very easily.
don't so I'm just being facetious most of the time, so don't take me too serious.
my
You know what
facial
I'm saying?
expressions just say what I feel. So
Oh yeah. You uncensored, huh?
hey, you know what? My daddy said that actually about my facial expressions.
Come
He's
on,
like, you need to
man.
censor your face. She don't know
But
how to
yeah,
do it.
man, it's a trip. But I think the censorship is easy.
Oh wait, I didn't hear you say again.
I think the censorship is
Not you, girl. You think the censorship what? Your microphone is too good. You think
what
the
you say?
censorship is what?
What you say?
You think the censorship? Danielle's her microphone is way too good. I need to get whatever that is. You said you think the censorship is what now?
I don't worry about it. It don't
No,
matter
no,
what
no.
it is.
Say it because I just didn't hear you.
Ain't no I think we got to come back and readdress this topic with more. We got to do some statistical research. But I'm heavy on leaning in the way of to be continued.
You know what? Okay, I'm done. Okay.
That's a cop out.
Okay.
Where you see him at? Where you see him at?
You
Huh?
stupid. You so dumb.
Where you heard her?
You so dumb.
I ain't see him. You at the
I'm
door.
done. You know what? And I'm mad I didn't have to think about that one. I didn't have to think. I'm like, did I see
I
who?
didn't even
I'm
have to
mad.
think about that one either. Like it was just, yep. Um,
That was good. Did you have something, Doc?
I mean, I already said mine. I said yes. Typically, I would say because of the fact that the amounts are very skewed. But yes, I mean, in essence, anyone who comes against the gay community would be censored. The LGBTQ community
And that
would
censorship
be.
right there. What you just did is censorship.
It is
Because I was thinking, can you say gay and not offend because everybody's not gay?
exactly LGBTQIA plus community would
Censorship.
be yes.
So Okay, well, this obviously was longer than I thought because I like when I came on, I thought this thing was gonna be 30 minutes because I was supposed to be somewhere. But you know what? It is what it is. This was lovely. I enjoyed
Yeah,
this.
that's what happens when the real one jump on. That's why it's called the realest. You feel
Oh
me? You
Lord.
know, going to say you let me. Hey, tell them to hit me on IG.
You better put your handle in your name. Follow him if y'all dare.
Hey, Dr. Jackson, you want me to tell you something? Now we got something in common. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
Huh?
No,
The last
that's
name. You married to a Jackson? Huh? Yeah, you.
he's talking to you.
You
That's not
married
her
to a
last
Jackson?
name. That's not her last name though.
I would say Dr. Jackson. Doctor, what that say? Wilson. Where you get Jackson from? Oh, you knew I was coming. Look at that. You knew I was coming. You knew I was coming on, huh? You say, let me.
That was a name that was given to me by Gerard. That Gerard gave me that name.
Anywho, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because he wasn't getting it. He ain't on here, so I can talk to her. He was not getting it.
Yeah.
He was on his whole. He was just like, I'm gonna stand here, and that's it. I ain't even gonna look over there. I'm gonna stand here. Y'all not looking at this blade of grass right here. It's 17 million blades of grass. He looking at this girl. Anywho, I love him. Oh, he's back. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna come on, man. You know I wasn't gonna do you like that, man. I ain't like them other jokers. I ain't gonna just hit and leave real quick.
Wow. Wow.
You know, I'm gonna play this for this lady named Bonnie. Anyway,
What's up? How you came up with the last name, Doc?
I didn't.
oh yeah, Black Shear
Gerard gave it
thought
to
of that
me.
last time.
Yeah.
Oh, Black shit gave you the. How you know Gerard?
He be on the live. She be on the lives.
Dr.
You
Jazz
missed
can
it.
answer for herself.
But I could know because I said it already off the camera when you had hopped off. Also,
I'm saying how you.
Gerard gave me that name.
You met Gerard.
He used to call me Dr. G Spot. I've gotten a whole bunch of names.
Doctor what?
Uh-huh.
Oh
You need to
boy.
watch some more of the question times and then you'll get it.
Oh man.
Ooh.
I'm gonna just call you Doc. It got multiple meanings, so if I just say Doc,
Her next we're gonna say Doc. How much you
I'ma
want to bet
just
the
say,
next say Doc?
yeah, cuz y'all already know what time it is, man. I'm just clowning out, it's been a good
No,
time.
you good.
I appreciate y'all, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? But remember what happened when the real one jump on y'all like Justin Timberlake and what's the band called?
And the boys.
No, In Sync. That's what y'all is. Y'all
That's called Justin Timberlake and the boys.
and hey, that's what they should have been called, huh? But
And when the real one get on, we know when the real one get on,
the realest,
can't nobody answer a question or talk.
huh? The realest. You know what I'm saying? Say it
Can't
right.
nobody answer a question to talk. That's what we know when he jump
You
on.
know what? Now hold on, cuz. Repeat that.
I said when the real one jump on, we know. Let me say it slow. We know that we're not gonna be able to answer the questions he asked because he gonna cut us off.
Well, all that may be true.
Wow.
Right.
He didn't even deny it. He know he
You
do
sound
it.
like Macaroni. Okay.
All that may be true. You know what I'm
What?
saying? At the same
While that may
time,
be true.
yeah. At the same time, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it ain't intentional. It's all. You know what I'm gonna do moving forward? You know what? I'm gonna prove y'all wrong. I'm gonna put the phone on. I'm gonna put the phone on mute. Then I want y'all to let me know when I can talk. I like when the
Okay,
women.
let's try that.
Yeah, let me try that because I like when a woman commands me to do something. Leroy talk,
Oh,
and I'm gonna say, "What you want me to say?"
hey, I'm into being a dominatrix now, so you know.
You into that, girl? Huh?
Where's Brandy?
I don't know, Brad.
I need her to censor this conversation.
I ain't a part of this. I had to pop off because this is between y'all. Let me know. I'm gonna put myself off and mute myself. Let me know when
Nah,
I can talk.
I'm gonna pop out.
Oh, I'm gonna message you. D, I'm
You
gonna
gonna
message
mess?
you
You gonna
about.
mess with me?
No, not you. I think we've said enough.
Oh, of course you don't want to talk to me, huh?
No, I want to talk to her about something. Anyway,
Y'all seem like y'all about to start a feminist
inbox me
movement.
your number. No. What?
Oh, no, I'm just,
Anyway,
I'm just talking.
I appreciate you both.
Yeah.
Some more than others.
Hey,
Let's go next week.
don't be offended by that, Miss Jackson. She ain't mean to say that about you. You know what I'm saying? So don't take offense to that. You know that she can't talk bad against me like that in front of
Who
Oh,
customers.
can't?
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Who can't?
I'll see y'all later. Okay.
All right,
Next week
one.
we're gonna talk about red flags. So
Oh, this
Oh, yes.
one today.
I'll
Talking
make
to
my
y'all.
list. I'll make my list.
okay.
All right.
All
Bye,
right,
love.
y'all. Later. Look, that that went from literally 1, 2, 3, 100. Like, wait a minute. I can't even go to where I was planning on going and doing what I planned on doing. It's cool though. Life happens. Life happens. Thank you for joining us. Next week we're talking about red flags. That's a two. I guess that goes two ways. What should the opposite sex be leery of, and what should same sex be leery of? So what should women? So if it's me, what should women be leery of, and what should men be leery of when it comes to women? Boom, bam, pow. That makes sense. If it don't, concerned. All right. Talk soon. Bye. Oh, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. right here. Make sure you like, share, follow. Make sure you share this on your page, please and thank you. I would appreciate it. Love you much. And we'll talk soon.